Well, good morning, everybody. How's everyone doing this morning? You got your umbrellas ready? Because we're going to get wet today, but not in here. My name's Sean. I'm one of the organizers here with Val and Charles, and we have Carlos and Tom and Casey scattered throughout the room. I don't think Casey and Carlos are here today, but we welcome you to Daytona 1 Million Cups. We are here at the Daytona Cinematique, world famous. And we want to thank them for the opportunity to be here every Wednesday. On your tables, our calendars of the events that are going on throughout the month here. We certainly want to support them. Also want to thank Volusia Economic Development for supporting us financially so we can rent this space. Is anyone here for the very first time?
Phil!
All right, well, welcome. Welcome, yes. So we meet here once a week, and all throughout the country there are individuals meeting just like this with 1 Million Cups, brought to you by the Kaufman Foundation, where we allow entrepreneurs to share their story, share their challenges, and that's an opportunity for them to get feedback from you. So at the end of each presentation each week, we give the mic to you to ask questions. That's what we're here to learn, right? And to teach. And they're here to receive what we have to offer. So before we introduce our speaker, I want to have Val come up and share some exciting stuff about 1 Million Cups.
Hey, I'm Valerie. I'm the lead chapter organizer for this chapter for Daytona Beach. I had an opportunity to be on a regional call. So it's actually me and Carlos. We were at a regional call together with 34 communities all over the United States. And I just had to say that I was bragging about you all. And when it came to the part where it says like, well, how's Daytona Beach? I said, well, they don't have any Vaughn in here. So to date, since 2014, we have served over 20,000 cups of coffee. So all thanks to you. So give yourself a round of applause. Thank you for being here. You showed up Wednesday after Wednesday. So I appreciate everybody for being here. And for all the newcomers, Phil and family of James, thank you so much. I didn't get your name. Thank you so much. So without further ado, but wait, hold on. Volusia Business Resources, one of our sponsors. This is a free event sponsored by the Volusia Economic Development. So this is a learn how to fund your business. So if please share it to people or companies who might benefit from this. So this is going to be on our Facebook as well. So just go ahead and share it. And I also want to give a huge shout out to our Cinematique partner, Jed. He's the president of for this nonprofit, and thank you to Ms. Davina Bonner, one of the board of directors for Cinematique. Thank you so much. They have been serving coffee since 2014. Thank you so much. So without further ado, I want to introduce, try let's go ahead and switch. Miss Latoya Carey. She had been one of the big, huge supporters of 1 Million Cups. And at one point, she was also one of the organizers, I believe. So thank you so much for being here. And when we celebrated our 9th anniversary, she was one of our panel speakers. She's going to share about all the amazing stuff about Kenneth brand inspiration and the inspirations behind it. Thank you so much, Ms. Latoya.
Good morning. I'm so excited to be here. And I am going to actually tag team here with this fine gentleman to my left. Next week, this time next week, we'll actually be celebrating 24 years of marriage. So that's what come a long way, and it's a part of our journey. So let's talk to you a little bit more about 1 Million Cups. Oh, excuse me, not 1 Million Cups. 1 Million Cups, Kenneth and Inspirations. So we'll start with the genesis. How did we get started? We actually opened up this business in 2016. And most people call him Kenneth. And to be honest with you, that is not his name. He's actually James Carey. So when people figure it out and put it together, they ask, well, how did you come up with the name? Well, Kenneth is actually the name of the gentleman right in the center of the room there who's moving around. That is Caleb Kenneth Carey. He's our youngest. He's 11. And then there's Grant. Grant is our 15-year-old who is right behind us, Austin Grant Carey. And so the combining of the two names came together, and then we decided that they're our life's biggest inspirations, so we came up with the name Kenneth Grant Inspirations. Here is the beginning. If you can go back just by one slide. Perfect. This is a significant image here of a young lady who believed in our vision. We decided that, yes, James had a talent in photography, and I loved people, and I just have this connection. I believe, honestly, that I've never met a stranger. And so we put those two together, came up with this business, and decided to put ourselves out there on social media to friends and family. She reached out to us and she's like, I need images for my brand. And we said, okay. And so I remember us starting, not in, you know how most start in a garage somewhere. We actually started in the multi-purpose center of our church, and we're so grateful that they believed in our vision.
And the cool thing about it, what you guys are going to see here is when you make that entrepreneur decision, man, it's just like a real tough one. And I think the biggest thing for me was that wall of fear. Because of, oh my goodness, what in the world are we going to get into? What are the results going to turn out like? And for me, being a man, I got responsible for a wife, 2 kids. I'm like, Lord, please let this be successful. And so what we did for the first 2 years, 2016 to 2018, we operated out of our house. And so finally in 2018, we made the decision. We was like, okay, listen, let's go ahead and launch. Let's make the jump. And we finally moved past that wall of fear and said, let's do it. And Mr. Andy, who's in the audience now, we were able to secure a building through one of his properties. But in the term, we were getting ready in our own home, just accumulating things as we go to actually make that jump. And then, of course, when we made that decision, again, Mr. Andy, he, one of his properties, we began to have a build out for our studio. We know, hey, listen, if we really want to be successful and do this thing big, let's have our own place, it's time. And so we actually made that decision to go ahead and do the build out for our first studio. And then what's so cool was the grand open. And I think that was a very joyful day for us. And I think if everybody can look all the way over in the far right corner, that's Austin when he was much younger, and his excitement and his exuberance for us actually opening that, it really stamped approval for us to say, hey, listen, we want to leave a legacy behind for our kids to become, have an entrepreneurial mindset. And him, that picture right there, it just tells the whole story as far as our journey up to that. All right, so we're going to go behind the brand. This is us now, once we set into our particular studio. The key thing that we wanted to do, Austin, if you go ahead forward, is this right here. We wanted to make sure that there was a difference between our photography company and those that are out there. It's not trying to say that we're better, but what are we offering to our audience that is different, that will separate us? And so, man, for the first year of business, what we wanted to do is we took out some loans, got some finances that will handle our first year's utilities, rent, everything like that, so we could focus on one thing. We really went to the lab, we set up personal meetings with ourselves. We said, hey, listen, what is going to cause us to stand out? What is going to be that the thing that's going to separate us from others? And so what we came up with was a KGI experience. What we heard from a lot of people is, hey, listen, when we took our picture, it was sit, click, and we're gone. And so what we wanted to do is say, hey, listen, we want to really enhance your level of experience where we're capturing images that will represent you maybe for the next 2 to 5 years. And so what we wanted to do is our personalities, we wanted to bring to that particular session, and we wanted to have fun, make sure that you were comfortable. Man, we got some comfortable music. A lot of times when you go in, it's just dead air. You get real type of, awkward, silence. And so what we do, we fill the air with sound. We ensure that we're engaging in conversation. We try to find out, hey, what's your why, so that we can really enhance your level of experience when you take your images with us. And so what we began to do as we said, hey, listen, that is going to be the thing that separates us of the experience. Yes, we got thousands of photographers. We even got a school right here, Daytona State, that just pushes out photographers year after year after year. But what we want to do is say, hey, listen, with that KGI experience, what we wanted to do is begin to spread that particular experience. And so that was very unique with us, very enthralling, very exciting for us within that particular span of time. And then the cool thing about it, along the way, we began to get a bunch of recognition. Don't want to put all of it out there. Our heads are not big, but Latoya, which has been so good, especially in the networking scene. And so networking is we found very powerful. A lot of times we say, hey, get to the digital world, do social media and all this here. But there's one thing that we really found out. That word of mouth and their relationships really help build your business. And so it was a great that Latoya really got out there. Latoya has this personality that when she begins to meet you and you meet her for the first time, it's almost like you already know her. She has that personality that really just says, I'm a friend, and I'm a friend that you have not realized you had for the past 10 years, which is awesome. And so it's great to be recognized for what we've been doing. It's great to say that we're a award winner. We don't lean on that, but it's so great to see that people actually appreciate what we set out to do and accomplish.
So our passion, what is our passion? I'll tell you that our passion is actually people. Honestly, who can run a business without people? Right? I'm sure everyone would agree with that. What happens is when people come in and they stand in front of our cameras, there's so much that they're dealing with. They're dealing with past experiences. They're dealing with self-esteem issues, areas that they're subconscious of. When they stand in front of our camera, we want them to know that what we see is a work of art. You were made beautiful. And that is what is our passion. Our passion is just to be able to show people, here's a version of you that you didn't even know existed. And so that passion began to spill over. And we realized, okay, we're great at what we do. We found our niche. And I remember the journey of going through all types of photography, right? We tried children, we tried weddings. We even ventured out a little bit with pets. Didn't quite work out for us.
Especially around the studio.
Two things about that. Pets and children, they have their own minds. They run to their own beat. And
sometimes they just won't listen. Can you turn your head here now?
So that didn't work out for us. But we did come to this realization because we love people and that we have this incredible ability to be able to capture the best of them. Why not extend that to the community? And so we're the co-founders of what's called Cultivate. Cultivate is not a word you're going to find in the dictionary just yet. However, it will be at some point in time. It's the combination of the words culture and view. And the idea is to be able to showcase African Americans in a very positive and influential light. And so Cultivate is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We started it 5 years ago now. And what we do is ask the community, who would you like to see featured in an annual exhibition that changes every single year? And if they're selected, they're able to be showcased, and their story of influence and success and trials is all combined to create a collection of beauty and a work of art.
And so what are some of the things that we began to really learn is one of the biggest things when it comes to running a business, especially because you got a lot of people say, I have a business, but they actually work in a 9 to 5 and then have a side hustle. But when we decided to do it, we decided to jump in, full head of steam. And both of us at the same time, because I remember what really launched that. My wife came home she was into banking. She came home and she met me in the kitchen. And she was as firm, but as gentle as she possibly could. She said, I can't do this anymore. I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean? She could not handle just, the corporate type of work environment. She was like, I know I was destined to be an entrepreneur. And I was like, okay, baby, give me 1 year, we'll be there. So that's when we set out. And so one of the biggest lessons in which we learned through our particular journey as full-time entrepreneurs is that you got to learn how to pivot. There are going to be ups and downs, there's going to be blows, there's going to be highs and lows, but you as the entrepreneur, you as the business owner, you are the one who's going to set that vision. You have to be your biggest cheerleader. You got to be the one that sees the vision when everyone else sees failure. And so one of our biggest pivots was the hurricanes and COVID. 2018 when we fully launched, COVID hit 2 years later, and it really dampened our spirits. But what we had to do is just say, hey, listen, we got to pivot. And so what we began to do is, okay, we could not have in-person photography sessions, but we're going to lean on our graphic design. And so what we began to do, design websites, we got into everything when it came to design. And that's the cool thing about it, because we did not have to be in person. And so that really got us through. And what we began to see when we began to pivot on that, 2020 was one of our biggest years just because of that pivot, and it allowed us, a young fledgling business, to actually stay afloat. And the cool thing about it is this right here. It's 2020, 2 years from 2018 when we actually started. The statistics are out when it came for photography businesses. 85% of photography business will fail in the first 2 years. And we was like, uh-oh, it's that 2-year mark. And so what we said was, no, we will survive, and we're going to learn how to pivot. And so this was one of our biggest pivots when we, through our history in which we're celebrating 9 years this month. And so we're out of that 85%, which is awesome. But learning how to pivot, this is one of the biggest ones. You go to the next one. And then another pivot was this right here. As LaToya said, we were a jack of all trades. We found out, hey, listen, what a jack of all trade does is that you would get paid minimum because you are not a master of one. So we began to realize, okay, we need to pivot once more. We need to begin to scale and to really be laser focused when it came to our business. So we scaled our services down. There was a fear. Oh my goodness, we're not going to get that type of business. We're not going to get this type of business. But we began to realize, when you become a master of one, you can really charge now. And you can really up your prices. And so that's what we began to do. And we became very good at that one thing. And that was really helping the business community out with really increasing the level of their presence when it came to their images. So we really focused and got really well. I have a film and video production background, and so I have a different sense of lighting when it comes to photography than with a natural photographer. And so we used that, and I think we really began to take on a lot of, and another thing we pivoted to is we went to a lot of really high-scale business clientele. And so that says, hey, listen, we're on that level to where we can actually offer services to the Raymond James of the world and really have them blown away by the uniqueness of our particular service in which we provide. If you go to the next one. And then one of the next biggest pivots is, okay, what we wanted to do, we started off with Mr. Andy. We stayed there 3 years, and we've been over at One Daytona for the past 4 years. And so that said, okay, it gave us a little bit more visibility. But now we're in another season of pivot. And so that is a nice ride that we're going to go on. We, as LaToya said, have code review. Yes, we do offer those services to the business community, but we realize we really want to do a lot of creative work as well. I think that is what is going to help us be this two-headed monster, serving the business community and as well doing creative photography. Where we're at right now, it's great visibility. It's a nice place. People seem, it's just respectable when people come and visit our studio. We got to pivot because it cannot do and hold what we want to do, what we want to accomplish. We need places with high ceilings and open space, and that they cannot offer that. And so we're going to be moving. And it's just a little pivot on which we're doing in our business, but we began to realize this right here. People come for the experience, people come for the level of service in which we offer. And I really feel it's not the location that they're coming for the results in which we can produce. So that's a big pivot for us right now. And so, Latoya, you can go ahead.
Just to add to it, in the very first slide, it says from ordinary to premier. That is actually our vision. And that is what we always do. So it doesn't matter the location necessarily. It's really all about being able to transform that individual from looking like everyone else to start, there being a stark difference in their imagery. And so we're excited. It's back to that point where you're like, there's a lot of unknowns, but that is a part of business. I'm sure all the business community here can relate to. And it's a part of our journey, but we are resilient. We do have vision. And one of the major key factors that we have is agreement. There's power in that as well. So thank you.
How's that? That was a great presentation, wasn't it? All right. I think that's the most I've ever heard you speak. I think the first time you were here, you were the only one who spoke. You were sitting over there in the chair. All right, so for those of you who are new, we're going to walk around. We got the microphone. I'm going to bring it around. We're going to offer any ideas, questions, comments, anything you want to ask. Just raise your hand and I'll get to you. So we're going to start with Lori here.
Lori McMullen with Your Daytona Regional Chamber, and we are so elated and appreciative of your longtime membership with us. We're like partners. And you, as you can probably guess, they're very kind and they give back. We have some unsung heroes quite often with our chamber ambassadors who do a lot of great things for us. And we want to show appreciation. They're the kind of folks that don't need it necessarily. They do it because they're servant leaders. But these fine folks gave them some great headshots at no cost to show them some love.
Don't say
So,
that.
no. That was, I mean, it was pretty awesome. They don't do that for everybody, but they saw the value what these folks do for our community, and not getting something immediately back all the time, because we just can't do that. But we look forward to possibly being part of your renovation or relocation, ribbon cutting possibly, and celebrating with you. Thank you.
It's Valerie again. Congratulations, Latoya and James. Thank you so much for being here. And not a question, but a comment. I had an opportunity, a tiny opportunity, to be part of a tiny experience of the branding that James did, because I was in a board meeting and we were looking for a space, and it's so hard to get all 12 board of directors be in one place. And Latoya said, why don't you just do it in our office, do a board meeting there, and we can do your photos. And it was amazing. They accommodated everything from top to bottom. And James took my photo, and I'm always very critical about everything and anything. And you made me so pretty, you made me feel seen. I felt beautiful. Thank you. And the pictures are online, so I'm pretty sticking with it.
Hey, you mentioned about going from doing everything to being focused and doing premium. Can you go into more detail about that? Because that's a tough decision when you say, I'm not going to do this work anymore. It's scary. Tell us about that process.
Absolutely. What I'll touch on is the frustration. So there was a frustration that began to set in where we were getting the clientele for babies, for pets, for things of that sort. But every time we did it, during the process and even afterwards, there was an internal growing frustration. And we paid attention to that after a while, and we're like, okay, well, we love photography, we love people, but there is something missing here, and we need to pick up on it. So let's acknowledge that we are frustrated, and it obviously means that this is probably not the branch of photography that we need to continue. As James will probably include, photography is about love. It's like food, right? You shouldn't be making or baking anything unless you love what it is that you're doing. And so we at least acknowledge that frustration.
And then what we have to do is begin to identify your why. Why are you doing what you're doing? Because a lot of times when you go outside of your why, there is, as Latoya said, frustration. And you begin to do things not for the right reason. And a lot of times you may be good at it, but there's no fulfillment. And so that's what we wanted to really begin to hone in on. We said, hey, listen, why are we in business? And what we wanted to do is just not say that we want to do this to make money. There's one thing, we have a heart for people. And we love people. We love making people look good. And so that's our why. All right, and so, okay, cool. But now what do we, and how do we properly and effectively demonstrate our why through what we do? So that says, we examine the list of our services and say, hey, listen, when you do this, are you doing this to the level of excellence to where you feel very good doing this particular thing? If it's a no, I'm sorry, put it to the side. Is it this one? No, okay, put that to the side. Is it that one? Yes, I love doing that. Okay, well, what about this? I love doing that. And so now what we created a menu and just a list of services in which we felt like, man, we can really knock it out of the ballpark every time we do it. And not so much just so that we can become a premium type of service, it's also so that we have that level of fulfillment, that at the end of the day, oh my goodness, it's not work to us no more. It's something that we love to do. When you now begin to have a business created around and formed around something that you love to do, listen, late nights, it don't matter. Weekends, it don't matter because it ain't work. I love doing it. And so that's the thing about our business that we want to really scale down. And yeah, again, like I said, the fear, oh no, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to, get that money that I would have if I would have performed this particular service. But man, when you begin to just hit that the nail on the head every time, listen, what you felt like you lost over here, you will gain definitely because people will see your passion behind what you do.
Just to add a little bit more to that, what that did for us was help us to actually create a signature. And so now the business community or just the community at large says, I can identify when it's your image. Not even by seeing the brand or the name near the image, it's just now, that's a KGI image. Oh, that sounds like KGI. And so it helped us by making that bold decision, and it was not easy, but it helped us to actually create a signature.
Jen Rogers with Just Peachy Clean. I had the pleasure of seeing your display out at the college when you did the Volusia Women Who Care, and it was absolutely gorgeous. And congratulations on winning the grant from Volusia Women Who Care for your nonprofit. I have to say that the pictures in there were so cool with all of the really vibrant colors, but like the juxtaposition of how serious the models and the people were. It was really cool how you did all of that, and I really love that. So my question is, as far as the nonprofit goes, what are you guys looking at for this year? What are your next steps with that? What's on the horizon for that? Because it was really beautiful.
Thank you. So Cultivate does travel throughout Volusia County. So there's a couple of more locations in mind that we'll be at. Embry-Riddle is one of them. We'll be at the Hub. We'll be at the News Journal. And we'll even be venturing over to the Hand Museum over at Stetson later this year as well. So it does travel, but we're already into 2026. All of the planning and all of the work that goes into what we do for 2025 is already done. So we're already at that point where the committee is selecting who's going to be featured for the next exhibit.
Nice, congratulations.
Who else? Hey.
Thank you. I'm Phil Zeman with South State Bank, and congratulations on all the success that you've had. I work with a lot of startup businesses and early stage businesses, and to see and hear the success that you've had is amazing. And more importantly, congratulations on 24 years of marriage. My question is, what are your mid to short-term range plans? Like, where will you be in 3 to 5 years? And then secondly, you talked about creating a legacy for your boys. What does that look like down the road?
All right, I'm gonna start with the legacy of the boys. Number one, you've seen the youngest one. He's around here taking pictures. So he's the one that boys, hey dad, I want to take over. And the cool thing about it is he's learning the ins and the outs, not so much to work in the business. I love his mind. He said, Dad, I want to own it, but I'm gonna get other photographers to do this because I want to do like 3 or 4 or 5 other things as well. So I'm like, son, thank you. And I appreciate that. And then the legacy more is, hey, listen, they get to ride along with the success of mom and dad. They get to see the failures and the low points of mom and dad. And a lot of times kids, when they go out to the real world, they are bombarded and sometimes have hopelessness when things don't go out the way in which they see it on TikTok or Instagram. It's not that glamorous. And so what they are being able to see is, are those struggles, are those successes, and just how to navigate. And I appreciate that. I got my oldest son, he's working in the back. I love him, 15 years old, he's getting ready to graduate, not only with an AA degree next year, but also in high school at the same time. So we see the work ethic that is being transferred into the young man as well, because that's what I want to raise. I want to raise men who are emotionally stable, strong, but then also know how to handle situations when life brings and come across those situations and circumstances. 3 to 5 year goals. I love, because again, we're pivoting. I love on the creative side with Cultiview. Cultiview allows me to do those things that, most photographers, oh man, I only wish to do that. Yeah, I do it in my side time, but I'm not getting any, I'm not getting paid for it. I'm not, and they list all these things that they're not able to do when they do creative work. But it allows my mind. Right now, as I stand on stage, my mind is looking at the shapes that the lights are making, and that's just a creator's mind. And so Cultiview allows me to tap into that side of me. And so for the next 3 to 5 years, what we plan to do is to not only have this be a traveling exhibit around the Volusia County, also peeking into the Flagler County area, but what we want to do is have this go to Florida, around Florida. We want to tap into the Tampa Bay area, we want to tap into the Miami area, and also up into the Jacksonville area. And not just to have this thing just so localized, but to really begin to venture out and do those things. So we're in talks with a couple of those cities to bring Cultiview to that, which is awesome. So that on that side, when it comes to Kenneth Grant Inspirations, what we want to do, I love when people come into the studio and they say, your name is not Kenneth. and then they look at LaToya and they just know her name is not Kenneth. They say, the next question is, are you a franchise? I'm like, okay. Speaking, okay. And so that is my more the 5 to 7 year range that we begin to franchise. I'm gonna tell y'all this, I'm a control freak. So the level of whoever bears the Kenneth Grant name, they gotta really come with the quality of work as well. But I can see that in the works, but what we want to do is really focus and hone in on more commercial contracts. That's what we want to do. And we're establishing that now with a couple of businesses. We're realizing, hey, listen, on that commercial side is really where it's at now. And so it's not worrying about, hey, who is that next individual that's going to come across and call us to say, hey, listen, I want some really nice branding images, and not dependent on that. It's now dependent on those retainers that we have every month that will bring stability with our company. So that's where we see ourselves now.
I also want to share a part of the goal or what we envision for the next 3 to 5 years includes being able to share our story more. More people need to hear that it is possible to do this. It is not easy. And I want to be able to get that across, that, you know what, there are going to be hard days where you're like, why am I doing this? I can think about just last year where I was just like, I just need to go back and do a 9 to 5. And then I had to slap myself, like, hello, wait a minute, being delirious. But it happens, right? And so people need to hear that. They need to be encouraged by not just the highs, but also the lows that says that you can. Here's how we're doing it. And may that just be some spark of inspiration for you to keep going.
Terry Savage, Central Student Communications, also chairman of the ambassadors for the Government Chamber. And I had the privilege and honor of working with Latoya on the strategic planning committee for the Government Chamber. So she's planning for your future and what's going on with you. That impact of what just that one thing is a small part of her committee. I also got to say that day of the ambassadors, let me tell you a little bit about this day. It was a nightmare. It was pouring down rain, sideways. The parking lot was a foot deep in water. Everybody came out of there. There's nobody who got into her place dry. We were all wet and wind blown. And we sat down and she took great care of us and one at a time went back, spent the time, effort, and energy to get everybody in the right place for those pictures, because we were not when we walked in the door that day. And that's part of that whole process that you do. It is inspirations, and you do it well. What kind of inspiration can you give us on the future, not just of you and Kenneth Grant Inspiration, because you're involved in the community, like your nonprofit in that perspective, but also the time and effort it took to be part of the strategic planning committee was no simple thing. The whole way through this to do it. Thank you very much.
Okay, sorry. It goes back to what James was saying, that the importance of collaboration. Yes, making a dollar is important, it's a necessity in order to keep going and living. However, we still go back to the foundation, which is people, and needing to make sure that we are showing up in those rooms, we are making a difference, we have a voice, we are sharing, giving insight, giving a different perspective on things. All of those things are so important, and it still all involves people. And so, you know, even though it is a challenge, right? You're like, oh my goodness, I really don't have the time, but I carve it in because it's a necessity. You get to a point in business, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you have arrived. It just means that you start to realize what's really important. And you're like, I have to give back. I have to be a part of making impact and doing it more so on different levels than just within the confines of your four walls. And so, you know, that's part of the reason.
Very cool, excellent. Anybody else?
Okay, a little one back here.
Way in the back. It's gonna take you long.
And a little person over there too.
Oh, I see. Hold on, we'll get over to you.
Latoya James, congratulations. I know you've, Daniel Fuqua, musician, saxophonist. You've taken a lot of my images for my albums and for my flyers and what I do. But one of my biggest questions I want to ask is, congratulations, 24 years of marriage. Do you see that bleed over in your business? As you know, marriage is a partnership. Does that bleed over as partners in the business? And does it blend together, or how does that work?
That's a very good question, a little bit of an actually. But the short version is yes, it does. As a matter of fact, Cultivating, KGI, which is Kenneth Grant Inspirations, do not exist without James and I. If we don't have a strong marriage or strive for a stronger marriage, it actually directly impacts both of those. Because what's special about us is the two of us. What makes up what's special about Cultivating or KGI is the two of us. So absolutely, When, you know, there are challenges between us, we see it impacting the businesses. When things are great and we're riding high, we see that direct impact on the business as well. That's why I said one of the key things that we have is the power of agreement. So when we're in agreement, honestly, it's already done before it's done, before it actually manifests. So it does have impact on us.
I'm gonna say something very controversial, but I would not advise any husband and wife to go to work together.
No.
But only if that there is, like Toya said, there's power of agreement, that there is a level of commitment that goes beyond just you and your wife. Because I'm telling you, the strains of the ups and downs, the thing about it is, a lot of times when you're separated, they don't see the raw. They don't see the, oh, this is what it's really like. The husband, he can fudge it a little bit. He don't have to show her everything. But when you in there together, you see the raw. And both of you look at each other like, what? How did we get here? And so then a lot of times when you get to that point, you begin to blame. Finger gets pointed. And it causes so much strife. And if you're not geared for that, I would advise anyone, don't do it. Don't do it. One of the things that we had to do in the beginning, we had 3 advisors for our business. And you know what one of them was? It was a marriage advisor. Realize this, like Toya said, nothing would really exist without the both of us working together. She being the best of who she is, me being the best of who I am. And so what we also had to do is define our roles. What's your lane? What are you responsible for? You know, not bleeding over. Well, see, you supposed to, and see, when we do that, then again, there's another level of strife that can get seep in. And so the problems that you're having on the business side, yes, it seeps into the marriage. And when you're walking around the house mad at each other over a business move or a business decision, it's one of the worst things ever. So I would advise everyone, don't do it unless you have that. I'm gonna be real, you know, don't do it unless you have if people understand that 3-4-4. If you don't have that, you know, have that outside commitment in between you two, don't do it.
I agree.
Do it. Yes.
I would like to, my name is Victoria Fontaine. I would like to know what helped you through your hardest time.
That's a good question.
Wow. I think for me, it was prayer. Because, again, there are hard times and sometimes you can't see how are you going to overcome. But just constant prayer, I believe in the power of it. I believe that it changes things, it can change situations. And so it was a rock for me, just continuing to pray until I saw change occur. So prayer. What about for you, James?
And then, this is a great question. The thing about it is learning how to navigate the different phases of our lives. The LaToya I married 24 years ago, not the same person. LaToya I was married to 7 years ago, not the same person. It's now having to navigate who she is. And then when it comes to the business was in startup phase 9 years ago. It's not the same level of business right now. So now I have to deal with what's in front of me. And a lot of times what we do is we relegate to what once was and not understanding what is. And so that helped me through, and it's continuing to help me through hard times. This pivot in which we're doing right now, I have to realize, yes, that what was, but what is, and then now being a business owner, I have to try to navigate to say what will become. And so, so it's just me having a good mindset, and as long with Toya prayer, but then also putting a practical application to what we're doing. Just trying to keep my mind on, hey, listen, identify where I'm at right now so that I can make better decisions on my future.
Hey, Sean Gepper with Arrow Clinical Trials, and watching you guys today, I've known you for many, many years through the chamber down in Port North, South Daytona, and watching you progress. I think I was at your ribbon cutting and one of your morning mix and mingles, and watching you grow and doing it professionally has been very inspiring. I've got I want to point out, not only have you grown professionally, but you all have also improved your personal self. I've witnessed that through social media, how you have taken on your bodies and the challenges as we get older. And tell us how that's helped you with your business as well. And one more question, have you located the new place you need to be? And you need help with that, because there's things out there that all of us in this room may be able to find you. And what's that space look like? Have you identified it yet, or are you in the search?
What a question. I'm like trying not to cry. Because, Sean, you are absolutely right. It's all connected, right? It's the emotional, psychological, the physical, the spiritual. All of it is connected when you're doing this the right way. And so that was a missing link at one time for me personally, where we were riding high and things looked very promising in all those other areas, but my physical health. And I came to a realization that something did have to change. And I just remember doing this. I remember meeting a young lady who was featured in Cold to View. She was a personal trainer. And she had this saying, she says, move that body no matter what. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna move this body no matter what. What does that look like? And so I figured out, well, every morning we'll just start walking. We'll walk for 15 minutes every day. And after a while of doing that repeatedly, consistently, my body said, oh, is that it? And I was like, oh, okay, well, we'll turn that into 30 minutes. And then it turned into an hour. And before long, I was like, I think I can jog. So we started jogging. And I'm like, well, now I want to run. And so we did that. And now I'm doing 5Ks. And I've got my eyes set on a half marathon. And it's just been a continuous journey of realizing that it's all interconnected. You can't negate one part of you, because all of you goes into this business. It's a part of just who you are. And so for me, that is definitely, and I want you to share what happened for you. You're scared. I do. I want you to share that so that it makes sense and it all comes together as well. But again, that's where it started, and it's just been a continuation. So it's not a fad for me. I remember running a business where people, they alter themselves, right? And so I said, well, maybe I need to go that route. Maybe I need to start doing what I'm seeing as a trend. And I remember just hearing, no, that's not the route for you, because this is not a trend. This is a lifestyle change. And as a result of that, I lost 30 pounds. I eat differently, and it's really a lifestyle change for me. So.
And the sad thing about it, when you work a business and you're really into it, one of the things that fails to happen is you begin to check the level of your health. And for me, I'm out there, I'm doing things, I really want to become better at what I do, and I'm just working tirelessly. And the thing about it, I negated my health, and to the point I got pre-diabetic, and I got to a point where I had no energy. I would go to a shoot, I would just say, hey, listen, if I'm just help me get through the day. Just listen, and I would immediately go back and I would have to lay down for the rest of the day after the shoot, and I was gone. So I went to the doctor like, James, you got to do something, man. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And he said, well, how often are you going to the gym? And he was like, listen, where you're going, with the levels of success I see you guys, you're not going to maintain it the way you are. So we have to make lifestyle changes. So I got plenty of energy. I'm smiling on stage, even though I'm leaning on this pole. But I'm good, though. I'm good. And so I'm really excited on this next journey. And just to lead into that second one, no, we don't know where we're going. And listen, what we wanted to do is streamline. Now we got two businesses. One a nonprofit, one a for-profit, and they're really beginning to expand. But the thing about it is what we need to do, we feel to really make things more beneficial for us, is we want to streamline. And so maintaining that big rent out at One Daytona, now we gotta do away with that. We want to get to a place where we are, it seems like we're downsizing, but we're actually setting ourselves up to be more profitable later on. And so, listen, Mr. Andy, I need one more. I need another one of those, favors, But what we're looking for is things that have high ceilings, flex space use, not so much office space. We do want an office inside it, bathrooms, so that our clients have a place to utilize for changing and everything. But that's what we're looking for. And so we're not down about it. We have great anticipation and expectation. So we're good about it. So anybody in the room that's want to come along on this vision, y'all. And we got one more in the back?
Yeah, absolutely. Good morning, Arletha Baxter, founder of the Steve House. First of all, I would like to congratulate you as a couple on your anniversary, your marriage. The legacy that I see that you're pouring into your beautiful children, that stands out. Because as all of us know, once that foundation is solid, it won't crumble, because if anything happens, any hurdles they'll face, they're gonna fall back on what they were trained and how they were trained. I am the founder of the Steve House, as I previously said, and I'm looking to step out on faith and trying to secure a space. And with the seriousness of the clientele that I deal with, I wanted to find out from you all, my clientele is not public, but I wanted to find out, what platform did you all use to try and to secure your first location? Was it finding a realtor, word of mouth, someone you know, advertisement? I just want to take the right path once I step out. I want to take the right path and see what's going to be more beneficial for me, since I do pretty much everything for my nonprofit myself.
So part of the journey was just researching, right? So one of the things that I remember is when we started, we did have a realtor at one time. They did show us property. None of it worked for us. And then I remember doing quite a bit of quite a bit of research online and calling around. And as a result of doing that, we met someone who just planted an idea of, have you considered a build out? Like a build out, it just sounds massive. It sounds just astronomical. It just sounds like money, more money that we did not have. But it actually was the very thing that we needed. And so just start the research. That's a part of the journey. Ask around. Put the ask out there, and you'll find out that you're going to find exactly what it is that you need.
And then last but not least, so that we can go ahead and get going. For you, I will tell you, everybody's journey is not the same. See, I can give you advice and say, hey, listen, you need to go get you a realtor. Realtor may work for me. Oh, yeah. But it may not work for you. As your journey unfolds, you have to begin to identify what works for you. Now, yes, we can present you options, but I don't want you to feel like, hey, because I see you and identify you as successful, I need to take you a route. That's not going to be beholden to everyone. So I would just say, hey, listen, identify your options, and then a lot of entrepreneurs is trial and error.
Fantastic job. Hey, good man. Great story. Life lessons and business lessons. So, we're going to bring up the lights. We're going to have everybody come up here and do the optional mandatory family photo that we're going to put out on social media. And we're here every Wednesday, 9 a.m., listening to great stories of entrepreneurs like today. Thanks, everybody. Come on up.